Diallo getting the roll is TJ Bamba. Bamba was dominant in the first matchup between these two teams, had 21 against Washington back in January.
Yeah, and I think, we talk about Biddle and his defense rising, his level rising on the defensive end, but I think the same can be said for TJ Bamba. Obviously different roles, different people they're guarding, but Bamba has been really good in taking out the other team's best perimeter player.
Good feed over to Diallo for 2.
Game. I think all of us are looking forward to getting to Indianapolis and get this thing on. In a year where it's been, yes, Michigan State's a conference champion, but it just feels like these games are going to be unbelievable this year.
You got a team playing as well as Oregon right now. They could, the 8 seed. Yeah, they could be fit for anybody. Diallo knocks down the jumper.
Think about
Shook Great's hands, and his fingertips were touching my elbow.
Yeah, I mean they're abnormally big.
There's a 3, no good. Offensive rebound by Diallo. It's the elbow jumper.
Things happen. Teams play better. Teams don't make shots and lose. Like, things happen. That's what makes it so much fun.
That Oregon-Indiana game is down to the wire there for a while. 10 different ties, 10 lead changes. The late run, a 10-0 run by the Ducks was the difference. Diallo all by himself. He's in double figures.
For this Oregon, another guy that's been hurt a lot since he's been at Oregon, but stayed healthy this year and has had a major effect on this Oregon team.
5-on-4 there for a moment. Washington didn't take advantage, so Osibor on Bamba. Skip pass. 2 to shoot, gotta go. Diallo beat the horn and banked it in.
On it, obviously, but it's just the beginning of this Danny Sprinkle era at Washington.
Interesting talking to him about how he's communicated what's important for his players down the stretch. Zoom Diallo hangs and it drops.
How good's he been this year?
But that was just way too easy for him. Washington has to pay more attention to him. As you can see, he has a gift of scoring like it's nothing. And you were talking about Danny Sprinkle. This is an excellent young coach. Really excited about being here at Washington. His dad played football here back in the days.
Rice extra pass to Goody in the corner. Too strong. And it's boarded by Diallo.
Yeah, the Huskers dodged the bullet right there because Goody was wide open.
Diallo steps through the defense and banks it. That's what I was just going to say. The two guys that have come off the bench have combined for half of Indiana's points in the first half.
It's a really, really nice luxury to have.
Diallo spots up and connects.
Look, scoring is not that easy, ladies and gentlemen. He's just making it look like it's nothing. Wow, 10 points off the bench for Renew. I see why you're excited when you asked me if he was going to play. Yeah, he's a stud, man.
Can't work it into Osibor.
Long time to get the ball inbound. Zoom's got to shoot that one. You know, the defense is lagging off and daring him to shoot. He's got to take it.
5 to shoot. Mason backing down Galloway, spits it out, open look, Diallo, backs in the court. Oh, that's pretty sure from Rice.
Yeah, that's just way too easy. You know, you got to have some weak side defense. You got to see the ball and see your man, and nobody saw Miles Rice just waltz into the basket. Too easy.
Diallo with a quick response. Yes!
I knew as soon as he got it, it was going to be money. Luke Goody has put on a show. Fort Wayne, the mad ants of the CBA, stand up, baby. He is showing out.
5 threes for Luke Goody, and that's potentially the dagger. Diallo's got a quick bucket.
2 times short. Blackwell missed it. Hot potato to the outside. Diallo claims. No numbers, he doesn't care. Attack mode, floats it in.
There you go. You got to feed him. Turn and strong finish.
Right now, it has been the big men, the plethora that Wisconsin can throw at Washington. That's been the difference. Diallo drives, fend off, and finish.
That's where
with some extra development, with another year potentially here in Madison.
Absolutely. Another year, putting some weight on, understanding the game a little bit. And that's always watching. It's a great point.
Only 7 free throw attempts for Washington. Their season low before tonight, 12. back on February 5th. They'll get one more here.
And offensive possessions will help their defense.
Washington trying to diffuse that 10-2 run, taking the timeout just ahead of 9 minutes to go in this first half. Through the pressure, Mason and the guards for Washington break it with ease. Zoom Diallo coming off a 20-point game. Point guard for Washington with his career high on Wednesday night. Ball is back in his hands with 5 on the shot clock. Sweeping in on Sanford. 2 to go. Leans in and rattles it away for Iowa. Diallo dangerous with the ball in his hands. Harding went under. Now those two isolated in the posts, and Diallo rises over the top.
Dix can really hit threes off the dribble at a high clip. Get your hands down, and he makes you pay.
This game's been fun.
Very fun.
1-point game midway through the second half. And with the desperation of trying to get to the postseason written all over this game. Cross, Diallo, hammer screen for Kepnong, got him free.
So much to like about Dylan Harper. Positional size, seems to get to wherever he wants on the floor with the dribble. Already understands change of speed and direction. But how about the experience that Somerville and Grant and these guys have gotten playing all these minutes for Rutgers this year, what that means for Rutgers next year.
Yeah. And that's got to be part of going to the tournament, right? Is getting your young guys to experience that. No DJ Davis today. He is the latest to fall ill. This Washington team, like many teams around the country, has had some illness. Right. Even when they were playing the top half of the league, Acuff a deep three. They beat Maryland here, lost 6 in a row. But, you know, it was Purdue was here, UCLA was here. Illinois was here, went to Michigan and Michigan State, lost those.
King's got to be ready to shoot. That was a good find by Mason. Turner's talking about that Lorenzo Romar had it at for years.
It's a place that will support. Right? Much like Rutgers, great basketball court. You can get a great crowd in this building. We got a good crowd here tonight. Diallo trapped and nearly turns it over.
Got away with it. I want to pick it up. That half-court line and the sideline are extra defenders.
Harris, 5 to shoot, tough shot, and it goes down. The winner of this game will be, and again, we've still got, 2.5 weeks left, but will be in the top 15 of the league, which is relevant down the stretch. But I think, you say, well, are we really going over the standings here at this point? There's still some really important games to play. It's breaking out. Gets in on Iheanacho.
Good rebound, Harris.
And now he's going to bring it up. Diallo jogs into a sprint. Diallo. Asabor. Butler. Traffic. And cleaning it up is Zoom Diallo.
Waiting for Harper to get it. And Williams just said, you know what? I see the lane. Took it himself. Finished the play.
Diallo dancing. Bailey guarding with 4 fouls.
See Williams sitting in the lap of Asabor.
Diallo with the touch.
Here I pick up full. Make Washington use some clock getting it down the court.
4-point game. Zoom Diallo speeding up the floor, and he cuts it to 2.
Figured that part of this out.
Ohio State did very similar things to them in terms of beating them off the bounce. So you got to be locked in, and you got to be there to help your teammates out as well.
This is the other part, too. Washington, throughout the course of the season, ins and outs of whether or not they run good offense. That's a solid. Penn State leading by a baker's dozen with 7 minutes to go.
Yeah, so what can Washington do to overcome this? Zoom Diallo, I think, needs to get involved, Jason. He's got one of the few guys on Washington can go get their own shot. They seem to be struggling with any kind of semblance of continuity on this end.
Well, and Washington away from Seattle, too. I mean, all of their road losses in conference have been by double figures. They do have the win at the barn. They beat Minnesota. But they haven't been in all these games throughout the course of this conference play. And there you go. Diallo got
some stop that Washington needs to get back in this game.
Well, and it was off of Penn State on top of it. So you get the block, you get the ball, you get the flex. You got the fifth-year senior who has missed so many games the last 3 years dealing with knee issues. But when he's been on the floor, whether Oregon or Washington, he's been effective. Diallo into the paint, and he's fouled. Mason the trailer for three. There's Kepka for the putback, and he hit the deck. Hasebor another rebound. Diallo the scoop. Count it. Washington has the lead and
changed it. He wants to go with Bazumana, and then we'll go to Zoom. Makai Mason's three is strong, and Diallo tips it out. Second chance for Washington.
That's why I like working with you, Kevin. One of the things, because, you know, you get that out of the way, we can just go with Zoom.
Inside, Zoom for two.
Some teams that went back-to-back Final Fours.
A lot of talent in that league. This year, you look at Mobley, and there's talk about does he belong in the all-freshman team. This is a loaded freshman league this year. A lot of really good young talent in this conference.
You got that right.
Diallo, one of those guys, young talent, and he floats it in for two.
Floor. I start getting some amnesia like his freshman teammate John Mosley Jr.
Diallo, baseline jumper, got the roll. Dodges a couple there.
Boy, I mean, Evan Mahaffey, great D.
Coming up, stay tuned to the State Farm halftime report. Dave Revson, Rayfeld Davis, Seth Davis are breaking down the first half. Get you caught up with all the action around the Big Ten. Coming up on the State Farm halftime report. Inside two more for Diallo. Mobley Jr. with 19 tonight.
Danny Sprinkle trying to get guys in, give them some experience. Also trying to find a combination moving forward they can rely on.
It's Diallo driving inside and got the kind roll. Diallo tonight.
15-7 against the Trojans. Almost doubled his three-point makes, 4 for 5 last game. He's 9 of 30 on the season, but he is capable of great pass there from Martinelli, a place he's also getting better.
Diallo all the way to the rim. 5 of the shot clock. Martinelli fades away. They're trying to use a lot of clock once again, Northwestern.
Used a lot of clock. Discombobulation in that set right there.
Now some more up top. Diallo with the runner, fouled, and you can count it.
Washington, I would tread lightly because you're not going to keep that guy down long, and he's not shy. He's going to put it up. Don't want him to get going in a close game.
Diallo weaves his way to the rim and scores. The floor for the Huskies. He's sitting with 2 fouls. What a pretty pass by Hasebor. But Mason cannot convert. Under 5 minutes to play in the first half. Diallo jump stop and fade.
By Barry, so hopefully see the ball go through again. Having a nice night. 9 points for him.
Diallo pulls up just near the elbow.
Well, again, give credit to Coach Hoiberg. Little change of pace to go into the zone defense.
Iheanacho able to pick it up. Diallo finds a seam.
That really come hard hedge on that ball screen. They did it. Good little short roll in the layup.
Diallo, wow, it's been that kind of first half for the Ducks. Boy, that one felt especially big for Nebraska.
Little ball screen, got the switch. He's got the big guy on him, takes his time, great poise, making big plays down the stretch.
It's his 4th triple. Huskies an open layup.
They were going to trap him, get it out of his hands. They did it a couple times, but he kept his poise. Finally got the one-on-one ISO. He's so good going to his right.
Diallo on the other end and a timeout call. Man, you talk about a tale of 2 different halves. Not that Nebraska didn't shoot the ball well in the first half. They certainly did, but they have just straight up dominated.
Lakers have had a couple uncharacteristic miscommunications on defense today. Gotten away with it, lucky.
Boy, Diallo, a lot of talent in that front.
That is the definition of hustling backwards.
Osibor lowers the shoulder, blocked once and twice. Long tip back out to Diallo. Diallo with a step, left hand, yes!
There's that. The barn.
OU. The crowd.
And now he's urging this Gopher crowd to get into it.
Diallo, again a silencer. He's done that a few.
Utah State, so his numbers are a little bit down, just like the 18.
Way too much space for Clark, who finally misses.
Finally missed, yeah, 3 for 4.
DJ Davis brings it up. We were talking start of the game about how important it would be for Davis to get some threes on the outside, but it's been Clark on the other end for UCLA.
Yeah, you're real familiar with Davis from his time at UC Irvine. He has to play the way he played at Irvine and reason at the guard here. Nice pull-up rhythm from the three-point line yet.
Morrow with the mismatch down low gets hit. They're saying all ball. It's going to be a turnover, and Washington takes over. Up top.
Zoom, you can see Zoom isn't really comfortable shooting the three. He had a wide open look right there. He turned it down. Got to take that shot and make a miss. You got to take it.
Long two, and Diallo knocks. Davis just hit his first three of the night a moment ago. Can't get his second. Kept on the offensive glass. Gets pinned. Kyle, for the second time as many nights, gets a big swat, but then the bucket up.
Offensively. Just couldn't sustain it against Purdue last week for the entire game. But the first half, they were up 8 on Purdue. Their defense was lights out.
Zoom Diallo. Biddle's not made a field goal at all in this game. That was his first point tonight.
Biddle now on Osibor. Angel started on Osibor, but Biddle's on him now. Let's see if he looks for it to block. He's going to come out, set ball screens.
And that breaks the Washington drought. The arc. Tracy lost it. He and Breidenbach are both slow to rise. And on the other end, a lay-in for Zoom. He can get, and he scores.
Didn't need the dribble. Breidenbach cannot get to Biddle's release point.
Today, he thought his team would have to hit a lot of threes. They are 1 of 12 from the.
No, like I said, there was no intent there. He didn't try and take him down or anything like that. They just got tangled up.
So after the 2 free throws, Washington maintains possession with the lead. Diallo, that's tough. Biddle came out to challenge, and Diallo hit it anyway.
He's put it up on the rim and give him a second chance to get it. Couldn't corral that offensive rebound.
Diallo and Harris have done most of the scoring in this second half for Washington. And Diallo gets that one just a. It's not too late to get it going. Diallo will hit a 3.
High-level games and has played so many good teams. He's seen any coverage that there is, literally. And so I don't think them high hedging and getting out of his hands is going to bother him. He's still not going to turn it over.
Zoom Diallo. Lawyer off the screen, a 3, high bounce, and not a friendly rim. Diallo, after a brief rest, back in for Washington to score.
5 out of his last 7 from beyond the arc. 29 dunks. 4th in the country in field goal percentage. Unstoppable force right now.
7-0 run right now from Michigan. Diallo from the elbow knocks down the jumper. Kick it into the corner. 3 ball. Azabor keeps it alive. Diallo now with the left hand. Azabor with 7 to shoot. Floater, right there to get it was Diallo. Just 2 minutes in that first half because of foul trouble. Nebraska transfer.
Well, you better believe number one's going to touch the ball in this first possession.
Almost a turnover there for Washington, able to get it back. 12 to shoot. Diallo, skip pass. Diallo's got it back, creates some space, and knocks down the jumper.
Points in this game, Jeff. He's only attempted 6 buckets. That's how efficient he is.
Nice pass inside, and one.
NCAA tournaments, and I think that gave him great confidence coming into this one.
Tom Izzo's team, everybody's got confidence right now with a 21-point cushion. Breitbach fires a fastball inside. Somehow it fell into.
This dance move there.
Saying this is what it looked like.
That's great. But I think they got something here. Diallo can get some post-up opportunities. He's got such a size advantage. We talked about.
You wore the same gear.
Uniform ready? That's your thing?
And Tom Izzo, those first 2 seasons, they made the NIT. Since then, they've made the NCAA.
That's so good transition. You take a bad shot, it's like a turnover. And it ignites their transition offense. Nice cut.
Right after Michigan State had grabbed.
Like I said earlier, I think Danny Sprinkle's going to get it to that point. May not be this year, but very soon.
Here's Diallo. Now the offense is
challenge on Davis. You mentioned the 14 first half points, 4 of 8 from behind the line. It is going to be awfully difficult for Davis to get the clean looks he had in the first half.
Diallo. $17-point Illinois first half lead, 11-point halftime lead. Zoom Diallo downhill.
Rodney Rice knocks one home in semi-transition.
This is what Maryland wants. They want to score so they can set this up. Pick up full, decide whether or not they're going to run and jump and try and trap it, or just make you use some shot clock.
The scramble, floater, Diallo, it's in. So far, transition defense needed right now. Diallo, second opportunity. It's in.
I like the activity of what stops at Irvine and Butler is Reese gets the easy layup. But, yeah, 27% on the year for Davis. He's a way better shooter than that. Maybe tonight's the night he gets on track, gets his first one.
The one game he really showed up was the Apple Cup win, their highlight of the season so far over Washington State. Float game still there.
When you get slowed down, everything becomes a little bit less rhythmic, and shots are different because you're not running and you're not in rhythm. Everything's kind of clunky in the half court. And I think that's kind of what's happening right now.
Even in this, it's been a continuous stretch of play. Diallo, left-hand layup. Now here is DJ Davis, fake in the corner. He launches, swirls out, put back in, and hard to tell which direction this game is going to go. Diallo gets the roll. Put back Reese. Zoom Diallo, the answer.
Later in the week, Ari Fulton took his time, backed off the glass with his left hand.
That was a nice, strong move by Fulton, finishing with his left hand. Against Tyler Harris, who wasn't intimidated by his shot blocking ability at all.
Breitbach had another look, didn't take it. Diallo improvises.
Else offensively he can do, defensively could probably get a little bit better, but if he could knock down that three-point shot, Terry, he's going to be unguardable.
Breitbach the steal. Here is Zoom racing up the floor, tipped up. Going to get a whistle before that tip and the follow. Tough task and a tough shot.
That was a nice offensive possession right there for Sebastian Robinson. He put the big fella Reidenbach on skates. Was able to knock down that mid-range jumper. I love his patience that he plays with.
Again, if you weren't with us at the beginning of the game, Highlanders playing out without their leading scorer, Tariq Francis, who came in averaging 8.
I don't notice because they're pretty good this year.
Purdue not quite what they were, obviously, but they're right
Zach
there.
Edey.
Yeah.
Yep.
Starting to heat up later this week. Good move.
Washington knocked down 3 threes. Nice game for him.
Shot clock running out. Diallo, no problem.
He can get to the cup. Get that out to his players because I don't know of any guys that look to do that. I used to hate taking charges as a player.
Diallo bobbled it, but recovers and puts it in.
Washington dodging the bullet there.
Here's Diallo using Osibor right there. Mid-range, yes.
He had
tough contested shot by Maldonado.
It was. He's calling for the screen again. Defenders keep going under on him.
Nice foul is called. Basket good.
Good job by the officials. Because I definitely didn't see it. Giving Zoom a little ISO down there on the block.
He's really comfortable in that part of the court.
Yeah, Danny Sprinkle said he wanted the reward and he was working really hard in practice. He played quite a bit against Eastern Washington. He's one of the first guys off the bench here tonight behind Zoom Diallo.
Zoom taking it with a finger roll. He's trying to set something up for the Cougs. He steps back for the triple.
Yeah, that's not his game right there.
Osibor finds Diallo. Diallo. Osibor trying to direct a little bit of traffic there.
He's really unselfish, Aaron. You know, he's a man guy on this UW team, but he doesn't force bad shots.
4 to shoot now. Oh, and a triple buried from. So the Huskies a little short-handed, especially down low.
In a 10-point game, Ethan Price has 11. He's having himself a nice game here tonight. That Zoom wants to post up against smaller defenders.
Diallo hanging foul.
That big possession right here defensively for Washington State. They're still down 14. They got to get a stop.
Diallo taken off and he is fouled, and it is in.
It's down there in the paint, Aaron.
Price pivot, spins, fades. Rebound pulled down. Why not? Instead the other way. Diallo up and under.
Yeah, that was nice. Because Graders going to get a lot of attention.
There's Zoom Diallo picking off that cross-court pass. Diallo floats it in transition, and Washington leads 2-0.
Hezzy, but he just put a little bit too much on it.
I think part of that is he saw the shot clock was down so low. He's trying to release that in time.
That's a tough shot, though. You can see Easton is.
Diallo shoves McClain out of the way. What a finish by Zoom in transition.
Take off with it, baby. The Eagles, he was flying like one on that play.
Sure was.
Yes, indeed. I love it.
Allowed 11 points so
I love
far
the attitude he plays
McClain.
with. Love the attitude he plays with, AJ. You can see he plays with a chip on his shoulder. He cocked that bad boy.
I think if he could, he would play with his shirt off like he was yesterday in practice.
He was the only guy with no shirt on. You're right.
Diallo rocks away, and
it's a nice looking shot by the big fella.
He has not played a lot, Eldridge, in the first half, but he gets the threes up when he's in.
Yeah, just
first
like
half clock winding down. Diallo right before the horn.
Trying to keep some fresh bodies out on the court. They're picking up full court, picking Zoom up full court. I like it.
With some size on him, and Vica Zonki out of Croatia at 6'8". And they drop back down into the zone. Diallo makes himself available. Tries to fit that one up and in it does.
I didn't think it worked.
And the Fox Sports app.
Yeah, Zonky is zonking it.
Talk about Rutgers and Illinois winning their in-conference battles earlier today. Good screen by Wilhelm Breidenbach, who we have not seen a ton of so far today.
Yeah, not many minutes for the big fella here tonight.
He was starting up until today as Diallo staggers his way to the rim.
For error. And so their defense has to be really, really good night in and night out.
Diallo pulls up a deep two.
And that's why Desmond Claude has had some ups and downs here early. He played off the ball at Xavier last year. He's Big East's most improved player in the league, but wasn't on the ball. He was more of a catch and shoot guy, move off it, and he's tried to transition to playing more on the ball.
And that touches every bit of the.
We've been talking about it all night, Aaron. Impressive stuff from this USC team on both sides.
Oh, for the point.
And that bucket allows UCLA to set up their 2-2-1 full court press. And watch number 0 in white, Kobe Johnson. He kind of plays a free safety sometimes. Better not mess around with any passes around him.
We were looking at that Bilodeau-Osobor matchup coming in. So far, Bilodeau rising to the occasion. All 7 Bruin points. Diallo through the lane and off the window.
That's an outrageous number.
That time they turn it over. You don't see that often. UCLA, one of the best in turnover margin, or the best in the country.
There's nothing that gets Mick Cronin fired up more. Not saying a lot. He gets fired up pretty easily. Then turnovers, careless ones.
Diallo, stop and pop, knocks it down. Boy, the Huskies.
From all trades, he's really been silenced tonight.
Johnson, who made the move from USC to UCLA. First time a basketball player has done that since like World War II.
Yeah, we're in a new era of college hoops, man. No loyalty.
Diallo gets by everyone and lays it in.
Leads the Big Ten in rebounding with just under 11, but also steals. Nice job underneath. Osobor in those pick and roll, pick and pop situations on the outside.
Down in a heap goes great. Part of the reason why they're in this championship game.
Absolutely, and chemistry works both ways in the defensive end as well.
Tongue had the ball, lost the handle. And Diallo's got it for the Huskies. At the elbow. Okay, young man. And to that point, Washington has forced 8 Santa Clara turnovers.
Well, I love that. You know, it's all about your culture in the locker room and who's going to be repeating what you said.
Woohoo! Zone. Possible with those 3 personal fouls. Triple on the way. Too strong. Davis with his head on a swivel, always clearing. Good rebounding guard.
Santa Clara's at 29% shooting team from 3.
Oh, Diallo rises.
The block to block and then a down screen action afforded the spacing.
Rebounding is Harris and running are the Huskies.
Well, looking for patience here, trying to massage the defense down and attack the middle.
Diallo, triple, off the glass.
Oh my. Expected, but put it in the bag and go the other way with it.
Diallo right at the rim. Lake got nothing. And Diallo, a little 5-0. Harris corralling that rebound as he continues to stuff the stat sheet now with 7 rebounds.
Yeah, you can't hesitate on your defensive rotations going back to what Autumn Johnson just reported on.
Oh, nice finish at the...
Upperclassmen on this squad. Washington with 10 upperclassmen, including 6 seniors and 1 grad student. Because of all those transfers. Diallo to the rack. Huskies with a chance to tie or take the lead. Diallo puts it on the deck against a triple team. Hangs and finishes. Back to a tie game. Alcorn State has missed its last 4 field goal attempts, and they turn it over here. Butler terminates his dribble, but finds the trailer. Diallo, who's 6'7" and currently guarding Great Osobor. Osobor fires inside. Diallo, he's dialed in. Trying to nab the rebound. That's 3 now on Pajo, who's played 17 minutes for Alcorn State tonight. Diallo with a little space, and 1. Nice head fake from Butler. Skips it for Harris. Osobor, head fake. Drops it off for Diallo for 2. For UW this season. Somerville lost the handle. Courtright dives on it. Washington has been all-out hustle. Zoom.
Harris playing the 5 for all intents purposes, with Jace Butler really being the 4-man, and when that happens, you need your guards to rebound, like we saw Louis Courtright right there, and it allows them to push tempo, and Diallo gets all the way to the rim.
The rebound out. Davis uses the screen from Asabor, gets to the cup, and it's swatted. Mincy the rejection.
Showing some of his athleticism there.
Diallo spins to his right. Leads the Riverhawks with 14 points tonight. Courtright on the baseline, muscles it up. Offensive board, Asabor, he finds Diallo for... Jackson Knapp tries a 3, too short. Louis Courtright gets on the floor and grabs the rebound. Diallo all the way to the cup and one. Through the program to a 17-15 mark, 10-8 in the GNAC, and they said, heck with that interim tag. This is your gig. Diallo able to get it. Margin now they're -9. Pretty representative of the way this game has swung. Diallo to the rim for 2.
Yeah, I'm not mad at him. I see why they upset. It looked like it went off Asabor's foot.
I think it went off Asabor about 3 times since the last UC Davis player touched it, but it's early in the season for these officials too. The proverbial saying there, doesn't have a point tonight.
The only thing that's standing out for him so far is those yellow shoes. I don't know where he gets those bad boys from, but he's rocking them.
Kind of the wrong color in this uniform, but
yeah, that's the era we're in, man. They'll wear any kind of color today. The brighter the better, seems like, for the younger kids.
There's a school in the next state south of this.
Spin on him, zone!
As Diallo together. High-low, Kepnon gets it from Asabor. I'll call out a pass.
The foul on that ball, tipping it in.
Looked like it was out. It was close.
Yeah, it was. It was out of the cylinder.
And live, it looked very close. I think you were right, though. Diallo from the baseline, and Washington's up.